So I hear a lot of controversy around taking probiotics. Some people saying, you're taking them in capsule form. There's no way you can get the array of them that you need, and that it really gets through, your stomach and into, your intestines to repopulate, the flora, etc. So, what's your view on supplementation for gut health?
It's a mess. It's very confusing. Mm-hmm. You have trillions of cells in your gut microbiome, and everyone's makeup is very unique. Mm-hmm. If I'm a ketogenic dieter, it's going to be very different than yours. Mm-hmm. If I have artificial sweeteners, it's very different. We don't even know what's good and what's bad. We just know they're different.
Right.
And then a lot of these products, you have a variety of strains. We don't know which strains do what. Mm-hmm. There's a variety of doses from maybe 1 million to billion, right? And you have some that are spore form and microencapsulated, where it's protected from gastric acid. Mm-hmm. And then you have some that aren't, where you're just maybe getting dead cells delivered. Probiotic means they're supposed to be living cells,
right?
And maybe they're delivered dead. And it's all very confusing. And then is it delivered with a prebiotic that might have an impact on feeding those cells? So it's really hard to say right now. There's a lot of research going on right now. There's been some data to show that certain probiotics delivered with an antibiotic can help the outcome. Mm-hmm. There's some data with some GI diseases, like diarrhea, which is actually a number one killer in the world.
Really?
The number one killer is diarrhea, dehydration.
Wow.
So yeah, if you look at the water quality in the rest of the world, it's a huge factor. So looking at those things, it's very difficult to say right now. There's a lot of promise. There's the gut-brain axis that you probably heard about.
Sure.
That really our gut might be dictating a lot of our behaviors. We think so much of it's in the brain, but all those neurotransmitters that we were talking about, dopamine, GABA, serotonin, all those things, those are in the gut too. And it's kind of our ancient brain, if you will, and we're not sure which one's driving what.
Right.
There's some interplay, but there's just so much that needs to be done. And if you look at one fascinating area is FMTs, fecal microbiota transplants. So where you're literally taking someone else's poop and putting it inside of you. But they've done research to show that with C. difficile, which can kill someone in a nursing home, hospital, whatever, in a matter of 12 hours. They could be dead. It's very, very powerful at putting you in a state of being immunocompromised, really bad bacteria, really bad diarrhea, and again, dehydration, and other things like VRE. These conditions kill people so easily and yet are so easily cured. But typically, it's been addressed in the hospital scenario with antibiotics. And a lot of times, these residents or people in the hospital are resistant to most antibiotics. You do what's called a culture and susceptibility test, and you see that they're resistant to every antibiotic because every time they have a urinary tract infection, every time they have anything, a fever, they give them antibiotics. And now they're in a state where they're resistant, and they have very low probiotics, very dysbiotic in their gut. And you're getting even more immunocompromised from taking the antibiotics. Now they're running more of a fever, and it's kind of will they make it? Will they? Maybe they won't. It's very tenuous to use antibiotics in that scenario. So giving them this fecal microbiota transplant, where within hours, I'm talking literally 2 hours, these things are cured.
So it's interesting. So you're literally, for all intents and purposes, transplanting someone else's microbiome, in the form of their feces, and that it that quickly can jumpstart the body, its immune defenses, and get it going.
Radical change. And you want to talk about? I know it sounds gross to people listening to this right now, but I believe that there's going to be a lot of data looking into isolating certain strains out of what's there in the feces of someone that can maybe most radically impact someone else. And we'll look at that and we'll try and isolate those strains, figure out what those are, and put those in a product. But I think there'll be maybe fecal vacationing, where maybe we go to Africa, where someone's never been exposed to EMFs, GMOs, antibiotics, steroids, on down the line, great air quality, great food that they eat, they exercise. And we're going to go to these remote places and get their feces, and that'll be like the point of the trip.
Wow.
And, maybe we have a radical impact on our health. I mean, so much is dictated through our gut.
One man's feces is another man's
treasure.
nutrition, right? Treasure, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a concept. That's very interesting. That's purely back to nature, I guess, in that respect, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.